Good morning, parents and families. Thank you for coming. Today's family engagement event is presented by our three deans. Mr. Musa here for middle school, Ms. Albourji for elementary, and Mr. Chahine for high school. They are going to talk about bullying and its effects. Let's listen to them. All yours.
Hi everyone. As you all know, my name is Mr. Chahine. I'm the high school dean, and like Ms. Anjum stated, we'll be talking about bullying. And as you all know, bullying is something going on all over this country, everywhere, work, home, school, everywhere, you know, these kind of things. So for bullying, so what is bullying? So bullying is a significant act or a pattern of acts by one, you know, who bothers another student or picks on another student, you know, imbalancing their powers, you know, whether it can be written, it can be a verbal, it can be through, you know, cyberbullying, it can be through social bullying, and this, you know, has an effect on them physically, socially, emotionally, everything. You know, it affects the person, you know, from top to bottom, especially if it's, you know, ongoing and it's always, you know, and it's always happening. So we have, you know, different types of bullying, like I briefly mentioned.
أنا اسمي مس البرجي، أنا الإلمنتري دين أوف ستودنتس، وحنحكي اليوم عن التنمر اللي هو موجود بكل الأماكن، بالشغل، بالمدرسة، وين ما كان موجود. شو هو التنمر؟ هو التنمر بالمدارس ممكن يكون من قبل طالب واحد لطالب ثاني أو مجموعة طلاب تجاه طالب. كيف بتصير قصة التنمر؟ هذا الشخص بيكون يمكن شخصيته ضعيفة شوي، يمكن يكون متميز عن الأولاد الثاني، سو هن بيجربوا يعملوا له التنمر. التنمر له تأثير كثير على الأولاد، ممكن يكون جسدي أو ممكن يكون يأذوه جسدياً أو ممكن ياخذوا أغراضه، مثلا أوقات بيصيروا ياخذوا أغراض التلميذ بطريقة إنه يأذوه أو يأثروا عليه نفسياً، وهذا الشيء بيلحق ضرر فيه، يعني أوقات بيحكي الولد أوقات ما بيحكي فيها. هو كثير كمان بيأثر على، بيصيروا أوقات كمان يهددوه، بيقولوا له إذا بتقول للمعلمة أو لأهلك حنأذيك أو حناخذ منك أغراضك، أو يعني رح تشوف شيء إنه ما بتحبه. سو هني شو بيصير هون الولد؟ بيصير التعليم عنده بيصير ما يركز بالصف، بيصير مأذى نفسياً، منه قادر يحكي لحدا، قاعد بالصف ما عم يتعلم، خايف يمكن يجي على المدرسة، سو لازم ننتبه لهالأمور إذا بتبين على أولادنا.
Okay. I'm going to explain 4 different types of bullying, just so that you're aware if you see these kind of things that, you know, it can be some signs or some factors of bullying. The first one we have is the verbal bullying, which can be teasing, name calling, inappropriate, like, you know, any sexual comments, taunting, threatening them. You know, all these, if they keep hearing those are all signs of somebody, you know, verbally bullying the student or the person. Another one would be the social bullying. So sometimes, you know, it's referred to as relational bullying, which involves someone's reputation. You know, I can be bullying someone, just trying to bring that person down, making him look bad in front of others, just so that, you know, that person is never involved with them, or they don't want him to be part of them, you know, embarrassing them, spreading rumors about them. All of these are types of, you know, the social bullying.
اوكي، شو هن اشكال التنمر؟ التنمر بيكون ممكن يكون لفظي، يعني التلاميذ بس بيحكوا حكي تجاه التلميذ، او بيصيروا يغيظوه يعني يقهروه بشيء، او بيصيروا يتمسخروا عليه، مثلا حدا لابس نظارات بيصيروا يتمسخروا عليه، اذا يمكن عنده وزن زايد بيصيروا يتمسخروا عليه، او بيصيروا يهددوه بدهم يأذوه. هيدا باللفظ. هو التنمر بيكون اول شيء ممكن يكون لفظي، بس بيكونوا بيحكوا حكي فيه. ممكن يكون اجتماعي. كيف بيصيروا مثلا؟ بيصيروا مجموعة تلاميذ مثلا بيتفقوا على تلميذ واحد بيقولوا هيدا ما بدنا نحكي معه. هيدا كمان نوع من انواع التنمر، سو نحن من هيك بنعلمهم انه بس يجي تلميذ جديد او اي واحد بالصف لازم نساعد، لازم نكون نايس مع بعض، ما نأذي حدا وما يعني ما نتنمر عليه لهيدا الشخص، قد ما كان متميز عنا ما لازم نتنمر عليه. اوقات بيصيروا يعملوا عليه اشاعات، مثلا بيقولوا هيدا عمل هيك بس هو ما عملها، او بيصيروا مثلا يحرجوه بشغله عنده اياها لحتى يتنمروا عليه. ثالث نوع.
The other one is physical bullying, which from it being, it's pretty self-explanatory. It can be hitting, spitting on him, kicking, taking their stuff, ripping them, doing something to physically hurt the person. That's another way, and a lot of it happens, and we have a lot that just don't speak up. They think they just don't want to say it or speak about it because they're going to be called snitches, and that's going to allow them, and what they think is that they're going to allow them to bully them even more with that, because if they find out that staff or their teachers finding out, they're going to be called snitches, and like I said, they're just going to keep verbally bullying him or keep on physically bullying him as well. They say mean things to them, rude things, the gestures that they do to them, anything, just to hurt that person.
سو الاشكال هي مثل ما قلنا النفسي اللي هن بيأذوه نفسيا، بيصيروا ياخذوا اغراضه، قلنا الاجتماعي، هلا عندنا شيء اسمه الجسدي بيأذوه جسديا، يعني بيصيروا يضربوه، يبزقوا عليه او مثلا ياخذوا اغراضه، ومثل ما قال مستر شاهين انه بيصيروا يعني هو خايف لا في يحكي لاهله لانه بيصيروا يقولوا له انه انت عم تفسد علينا، وما في يروح يحكي للاداره، ما في يحكي لحدا، بيصير الولد هون بيصير عنده مشاكل. هلا بنحكي عنها كيف ببين على التلميذ انه اذا عم يتنمروا عليه، ونحن هون بنركز على شيء، يعني نحن بنعلم اولادنا ما يتنمروا، او كيف نعلمهم يتخلصوا من التنمر اذا حدا تنمر عليهم، كيف يحكوا وكيف ما يخبوا يعني.
And the last one we have here is the cyberbullying. And you guys all know with today's technology and the access that these kids have, and whether it's on their phones, the group chats, the Google Meets, the Outlook, I mean, you can name them. Yeah, some of these things that we don't even know of, these kids know of. So that's also something very dangerous, because you don't know who they're meeting on this or or what they're planning on doing, and they can create these group chats and have one person in there while they're that they're always after, including him in, and they'll all be making fun of, calling him names, and doing all that on cyber, which is and the access that they have with this is very dangerous, honestly. And this is where, as parents, we should be on top of this, and we should be aware of what our kids are doing, what the type of access that they have to these electronic devices, because like I said, there's things out there that you can block one thing, trust me, they will come up with something else, and that's how this world is working now, and which is pretty scary.
سو التكنولوجيا هلا التكنولوجي كل ولد عنده تليفون، عنده اللابتوب، عنده اشياء كثير، بيقدر يعمل اكسس على كثير عالم، يعني من هون بالدول برا، يعني الولد نحن بعد الظهر بنطلب من الاهل يراقبوه، مثلا معه الكروم بوك، مثلا ما يعمل جوجل ميت، اي ابلكيشن مثلا بيفوت عليها لازم يكون الولد مراقب بعد الظهر، لانه كمان هيدا عم يأذي، هيدا كمان في نوع من البولينج، يعني اذا فات على الجروب مثلا وصاروا يحكوا مع بعض عم يسبوا او عم يعملوا بولينج لبعضهم، كمان هيدا بيأذي وبيأثر عليهم. سو نحن هون بالمدرسه مراقبين كل شيء، بالبيت نطلب منكم كمان تراقبوا اولادكم لنمنع هيدا التنمر.
And just to add on to that, there's they can be in group chats of people that they don't know.
يعني ناس ما بيعرفوها يكونوا موجودين معهم، سو هن هون بيتعرضوا للمخاطر كمان.
And as you guys see, like in the real world and how it is out there, these people go after kids.
لأنه بهالأيام ما في أمان.
And that's and kids tend to give out information that they're not aware of, or they're not and that allows them to get access to all of that, and they get bullied, or they might feel that that person is trying to make them comfortable. They might be speaking out to that person, complaining to that person that so and so is doing this to me, I'm being bullied. They end up getting caught in something completely dangerous or completely wrong. So it's very important that we keep track of this and we watch out for for all of this. I'm just gonna mention some of the risk factors that come with this, as like we were saying. So generally, kids who are bullied have one or more of these risks that, they're perceived as different from their peers, such as being, like she mentioned, overweight, underweight, wearing glasses, the way they dress. These are all things that, kids tend to bully each other about. Especially if they're weak and cannot defend themselves. If they see somebody very weak or can't speak up for themselves, they will keep going at you. They could be, depression, they're anxious, low self-esteem, less popular than other kids. Some kids are the cool kids, and, if you're not part of the cool crew, then you're not, you're gonna be bullied. They don't get along with others. They see, they're seen as annoying, provoking. These are all things, different race, ethnicity. Those are all risk factors of being bullied.
سو أي تلاميذ بيتعرضوا للتنمر؟ عادة الولد بيبقى مميز مثل ما قلنا، مثلا واحد بيلبس نظارات وكل الصف ما لابسين نظارات بيصيروا يتنمروا عليه وهو بيضايقوا هذا الشيء أكيد. إذا كان عنده وزن زايد، إذا عنده شيء مثلا طريقة لبسه بيصيروا كمان يتنمروا عليه. هيدا بيعمل تارجت، بيصيروا بس يشوفوه هيك بيصيروا يتنمروا عليه. في ولاد كمان عندهم ديبرشن، مثلا الولد عنده كآبة كمان هيدا معرض، بيكون هو حزين دائما أو شيء بيصيروا كمان يتنمروا عليه. الولد اللي ما عنده شعبية، مثلا ولد اجى على المدرسة جديد وهن الرفقة اللي بيبقوا مع بعض بيصيروا كمان يتنمروا على هذا الشخص بالذات. مثلا هيدا الولد اوقات ما بيحب مثلا كثير يكون عنده فريندز كمان بيتنمروا عليه. اوقات بيكون من غير كلتشر، من غير ثقافة، كمان هيدا الولد كمان معرض ليتنمروا عليه.
Just to continue on, so children are likely to bully others. Usually comes, children are the ones that usually. There are two types of kids who are mostly, most likely to bully the others. Some are well connected to their peers. They have, social power, as they call it, or overly concerned about the popularity. They just want to be out there. They just want to be, they want to fit in. They want to be seen. Like say, they want to dominate. They want to take charge of everything. Others are more isolated from their peers, like, depression, anxiety. They have low self-esteem. Those are all things that allows, somebody to get bullied, or it can be, a risk factor. Children who have these are most likely to bully others. They're aggressive, or they're easily frustrated. Like they get mad very fast. They have less parental involvement. That's the key here. Less parental involvement. That tells you how much you should always stay on top of everything.
يعني هون الفكرة سوري، بس إنه الولد اللي بيتنمر هو بيكون أهله بالبيت ما كتير عم بيراقبوه، يعني بيشوف إنه بيقدر يعمل أي شيء، بيقدر يأذي الناس. أوقات هو كمان هذا الشخص اللي بيتنمر بيكون عنده كآبة أو شيء، مثلا ما في اتنشن بالبيت لإله، بيجي هون بيتنمر على الأولاد الثاني، بيصير بده يضحك عليهم ويتمسخر عليهم، وهون ليه؟ لحتى يكسب شهرة. يعني أنا إذا تنمرت على هيدا الولد وقلت لهم لهالولاد ما تحكوا معه، كمان بيمشوا معي. ليه؟ لأنه هو بده انتباه بالبيت، ما عنده انتباه، ما في مراقبة بالبيت، سو بيجي بينفذ هيدا الشيء بالمدرسة.
Parental involvement, like I said, they think badly of others. They have difficulty following rules. They view violence as a positive way. So they think that, if you physically bully someone or you physically hit someone, that's something, good, or that makes you a strong person or a cool person, or they have friends who bully others. They're with a group, like she was mentioning, there's a group that, they bully other kids. Let me just go on with them and do what they're doing.
يعني هو المتنمر بفكر حاله انه انا قوي، شخصيتي قويه، في اعمل شو ما بدي، وبيصير كمان يجمع الاولاد حواليه. يعني مثلا كمان هو ممكن يكون حدا منضم لمجموعه متنمرين، يعني واحد بيكون هو الليدر تاعهم، هو القائد، بصير هو كمان يجي ناس يتنمروا، بيحبوا انه بس يشوفوا هيدا الولد اللي عم يتنمروا عليه عم يبكي او مضايق، بينبسطوا انه نحن عم نعمل شيء بوزيتيف، بس هو اكيد العكس.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. This is Mr. Musa. I'm the middle school dean. I started this year. I don't know if you guys, I never introduced myself to you guys before. So to continue what Mr. Chahine says, now we're going to go over the warning signs. So signs that come up, one, a kid is bullied. So sometimes it's unexpectedly they come injured. to the house, they get injured, they get hurt. There's signs that they're getting bullied. This is one of the signs. Another sign is they lose loss of clothes. Their books are destroyed, or electronics devices or jewelries, they're destroyed. So sometimes they have frequent headaches, stomach aches, like they feel sick, they have illness. So these are signs that show, like they're warnings that your kid's getting bullied or something's happening to the kid. So these are some signs that you can observe to see that this kid, like your kid, that's what's happening to him. Sometimes your child may have difficulty sleeping, so he might go home and stay awake all night because he's thinking about like what I'm gonna go the next day to school, what's gonna happen, so this is something that we need the parents to look at home because we won't be there. So if your child is not sleeping, like at the dinner table, speak to your children about this stuff because it helps a lot. So sometimes they lose their friends. So sometimes they lose their friends don't talk to them anymore because they're not cool. They're not part of the cool group. They're not part of this group that is like influenced by other students. So this makes them like their self-esteem less. So it makes them less confidence about coming to school, about interacting with others. And then self-destruction behaviors such as running away from home and harming themselves. So sometimes, it goes to the point where they want to hurt themselves, they want to harm themselves, and they even goes to a point they want to commit suicide. Because when somebody is getting bullied so much, he's gonna basically like say, I don't want to live anymore. That's how they think. So this is a lot of stuff what I explained before we can avoid before all this stuff happens.
شو هن العلامات يعني إذا ابننا عم يتعرض للتنمر شو هي العلامات اللي ممكن تبين عليه بالبيت ونحن كأهل لازم ننتبه لها؟ أوقات بيجي الولد مثلا عنده مأذي بمحل بتقولوا له من شو هيدا بيقول لكم أنا أذيت حالي بس هو خايف من الناس المتنمرين ما يقول عنه شيء. سو ممكن علامات كدمات بالجسم هيدي علامة، خسارة الوزن كمان علامة ثانية، خسارة الوزن القوية يعني. عادات الاكل مثلا بيتغير الاكل، الولد ما بقى بده ياكل لانه بيصير عنده يمكن وجع ببطنه وجع براسه، بيشكي كثير من الاوجاع يعني كل يوم عنده نفس الوجع، بتعملوا له فحوصات ما ببين معه شيء. سو هي ممكن تكون ساين من علامات حدا عم يتنمر عليه، هو مأذي نفسيا بس ما بده يحكي. ما بقى بيقدروا يناموا لانه خايف ثاني نهار يجي على المدرسه لانه حيتعرض لنفس الشيء، ممكن كمان ما بقى ينام الولد. ممكن يكونوا اغراضه مكسرين لانه هو بده يعمل، بيكون هو قد منه فرستريتد، بيكون معصب ما عم يقدر يعمل شيء وعم يتعرض للتنمر، بيصير يكسر يمكن اغراضه، بيصير يكسر اللابتوب، يكسر شيء، بده يفش خلقه بطريقه يأذي شيء مثل ما هو عم يتأذى نفسيا. ممكن ما بقى يحب يقول لكم ما عندي فريندز، ما عندي رفقه، يكون عنده رفقه فجأة يقول لكم ما حدا بيحبني، ما عندي رفقه، انا عم بقعد لوحدي، ونحن كثير بننتبه لهالشغله. بيصير ما عنده ثقة بنفسه، بيقول أنا ماني منيح، ماني شاطر، ما في أعمل شيء، هاي كمان علامة. وبيصير أوقات مثلا بده يهرب من البيت، بده يأذي حاله، كمان علامات. بيصير أوقات ينحكى على الانتحار، يعني هالقصص بتوصل للانتحار.
So more signs of bullying, like what if your child is bullied. So your child may be bullied by others if they like get into more verbal or physical fights. So at school they're fighting, you're getting called home, your child is getting into more fights. Your child is getting into more like behavior issues in class because that could be a fact. So his anger problem, he can be more aggressive. So he can be angry for no reason. So this is something that we can look at to solve it before it happens. So he gets sent to the principal's office or the dean's office more often because every time they get sent to the dean's office, we're calling home and we're letting the parents know. So this is another sign. Unexplained extra money or new belongings. So he may be doing some other certain things, like he's having extra money or different things with him, which is like there's no explanation to it. blame others for their problems. So he can be doing whatever he's doing and he's saying, oh, it's not me, it's somebody else. Don't accept responsibility for their actions. Are competitive and worry about their reputation or popularity. So they more like they compete more and they worry about like how they look in front of others.
حكينا عن الولد اللي بيجي على البيت اللي متنمرين عليه. اوكي، اول علامات اللي بيخسر وزن وبيصير عنده كدمات وهيك. هلا بنحكي عن العلامات اذا ابنكم عم يتنمر على الاولاد. كيف ببين الولد انه عم يتنمر؟ اول شيء بيكون اوقات بيجي معه مصاري مثلا وانتم مش عاطينه مصاري، يمكن يتنمر على ولد يقشطوا مصرياته كل يوم، هي علامه. مثلا بيجي معه اشياء منا لإله، بيكون عم ياخذ من هيدا الولد اللي عم يتنمر عليه عم ياخذ اغراض ويقشطوا اياهم، هيداك ما عم يسترجي يحكي. كمان بيكون عنده على طول مشاكل مع الاولاد، يعني هو بده يبين طف وهو قوي، سو بيصير يفوت بمشاكل، بيصير ينبعث كثير عند المسؤولين، عند الدين، عند البرنسبل، لانه هو عم يفرجي حاله قدام الاولاد انه انا كثير قوي، انا متنمر. بتلاحظوا انتم انه بيصير سلوكه منه منيح، يعني هو بيأذي يعني مع كذا حدا بالصف، يعني بيصير مع هيدا وهيدا وهيدا عم بيفرجيهم انه انا بولي وانا في امرق بالموضوع ولك انا شو قوي، هيك بيشجع الاخرين كمان يتنمروا وهيدا الشيء منه منيح. بيكون هو بيحب انه هيدا الولد بالذات ما عنده مسؤوليه، ما بيلقى لهم اوكي عملت هيك يعني ما حدا حيحاسبني، ما في مراقبه، في اعمل اللي بدي اياه. هول علامات انه الولد عم يتنمر على الاخرين.
So what are some effects of bullying? So kids who bully others. So kids who bully others can also engage in violent and other risky behaviors into adulthood. Kids who bully are more likely to. So kids who bully others are more likely to abuse alcohol, vandalize properties, drop out of school. Also, they can engage in more sexual activities. Also, they could be like they could have criminal convictions and traffic citation as adults. Be absurd towards their romantic partner, spouse, or children as adults. So they could be abusive. So they could abuse other people if they're getting bullied. So they're getting bullied, so they go and take it out on somebody else. Like if they're married, they take it out on their spouse. If they have like another friend, like they could take it out on their friend. So bystanders, students who also watch the students that are bullying also have effect on others. So students who witness bullying are more likely to have increased in use of tobacco, alcohol, or other drugs. Have increased in mental health problems including depression and anxiety. Miss or skip school.
اوكي، هلا الولد اللي بيتنمر ما بتوقف هي الشغله بالمدرسه، يعني بنفكر انه اوكي بيتنمر بالمدرسه وبيكبر وبيتخلص من هذا الشيء، لا، بس ما ننتبه لهالمرحله، بيكون عم بكفي نتركه عم يتنمر، بس يكبر كمان حيفوت بمشاكل. اكثريه الاولاد اللي بتتنمر بالمدرسه توصل بس تصير كبيره بيصير عندهم مشاكل كحول، بيصيروا يتعاطوا الممنوعات، بيصيروا ما عندهم قوانين، يعني بيصيروا يسرعوا على الطريق، بتلاقيهم عم ياخذوا التيكت مثلا سبيد تيكت، بيصيروا يخربوا برا، بيصيروا يفوتوا باشياء مع عالم، يعني بده يعملوا مشكل، يعني انا بدي اروح انا اول واحد كنت بالمدرسه هيك رح ضلني هيك كل حياتي، وهيدي كثير بتاذي. حتى بيصير مع عائلته بس يتجوز بعدين بيصير كمان يجرب يشيل هيدا الشيء تجاه عائلته كمان. فاذا هيدا كله اذى، يعني ببلش من الصغير للكبير، سو من هيك نحن بنقول وي هاف تو ستوب ات بمرحله لحتى ما يكفي اذى للاخرين. هلا في المتنمر اللي المتنمر عليه وفي المتفرجون، هودي بيتفرجوا، نحن كمان بدنا نشجعهم هول المتفرجون ما يسكتوا كمان، اوقات هو المتنمر بيهددهم، المتفرج كمان له بارت، له حصه بهذا الشيء، لازم كمان يروح يخبر انه هذا الولد عم يتعرض للتنمر. وهول المتفرجين كمان بيتاثروا نفسيا، سو بس يكبروا هول المتفرجين يعني حسب الدراسات بيوصلوا لمرحله كمان بيصيروا يدخنوا، بيصيروا يتعاطوا الكحول، بيصيروا يدخنوا كمان لانه شافوا اشياء قدامهم وما قدروا يحكوا، سو بتعكس هذا الشيء نفسيا، يعني كلها نفسيته الولد لازم نعالجها على صغر لحتى ما توصل معه على الكبر. بيصير كمان ما بكفي جامعة، ما بده يروح على المدرسة لأنه عم بيشوف غيره عم يتنمر، سو بيضل هو ما بده يروح بقى يكفي علمه، أو بيصير عنده كمان اكتئاب، بيصير عنده anxiety قلق واكتئاب كمان، هيدا لأنه كان يشوف قدامه ما قادر يحكي ولا قادر يخلص حدا، سو كمان بتعكس عليه نفسيا. من هيك بنقول لهم للمتفرجون ما تتفرجوا، كونوا بارت، روحوا احكوا إذا هيدا المتنمر عليه ما انحكى، انتوا اللي عم تشوفوا روحوا احكوا وخبروا المسؤولين.
How do we talk about bullying? So it's important for every parent or every staff member in our school to introduce bullying to students and then make sure they're aware of it. So we can help students understand bullying, talk to them about what bullying is and how to stand for it safely. Tell your kids that bullying is unacceptable. Make sure your kids know how to get help. So there's different ways you talk to your child. We talk to your children like as a parent you need to understand your child and how to speak to him, how to understand him, what's bothering him, what's going on in his personal life, because most of the day he's at school. So keep the line of communication open. So always talk to your kids, listen to your kids. Know their friends, who they're around. Understand their concerns. As children, they always have concerns. They always have something that's bothering them. As parents, we should understand what it is. Encourage your kids to do what they love. So encourage them to be involved in more school activities, after school clubs, help make friends that actually care about them, and then protect them from bullying behaviors. So all these hobbies that we provide at school, like soccer team, football team, basketball team, we have after school clubs, art club, chess club. All these activities can be a very positive things for your kids, because he's getting involved with community work, he's getting involved in different stuff, he's playing a sport that he likes, so he'll focus on one thing and then he'll throw everything else out the door. Mother, how to treat others with kindness and respect.
اوكي، نحن التنمر بنعرف كلنا انه هذا الشيء منه مقبول، نحن بالمدرسه عم نعمل البارت تاعولنا، نحن الدينز على طول بنحكي عن البولينج، كيف الواحد يتفادى وكيف كيف نوقفها، عندنا بوسترز بالمكاتب، السوشيال وركرز دائما عندهم على طول بيحكوا مع الاولاد عن التنمر، يعني نحن عم نعمل شغلنا، نطلب من الاهل كمان يحكوا مع اولادهم عن التنمر وقد ايه مساوئه من هون لحتى يكبروا. كيف فينا نحكي؟ بنحكي بالبيت، بنتحدث مع اولادنا عادي، بنقول لهم انه شو صار معكم، بنحكي عن نهارهم، ممكن نحن ناخذ فكره انه شو عم بيصير واذا عم بيصير معهم هيدا الشيء. على طول احكوا مع اولادكم، يعني نحن نطلب الولد بس يحكوا معه الاهل يمكن بيرتاح يحكي لهم اكثر، يمكن نحن مثلا اجي احكي انا ما يحكي لي لانه ما بيرتاح، الاهل من هيك الولد ما بيحكي بالمدرسه يمكن يحكي بالبيت، من هيك نحن بنطلب منكم انه تحكوا مع الاولاد وتفهموا منهم شو عم بيصير معهم. وكمان لحتى نخفف هيدا المواضيع بنحب نحن على طول نقول للاهل حطوا اولادكم بنشاطات بعد الظهر لحتى تخفف كمان الولد بس يلتهي بهذه الاشياء، اذا عنده طاقه قويه لحتى ما يتنمر على الاولاد يروح يفضي هالطاقه بمحل ثاني اللي هي نشاطات، في يروح يلعب كيك بوكسينج، في يلعب فوتبول، في يلعب اي شيء بعد الظهر، هيدا بخفف كمان صدقوني من قصه التنمر. وكمان بنعلم اولادنا كيف يكونوا محترمين وكيف ما يأذوا الثاني وكيف يكون عندهم ثقه بالنفس، على طول كمان بنعطيهم ثقه لحتى لا يكونوا متنمرين ولا يتعرضوا للتنمر.
So many of us gonna ask the ways that we, like as a family, that how can we support the learning of our kids. So it depends on the age. So you're gonna see there's different age groups. Like we have elementary, middle school, high school, like from 6 to 10, from 10 to 14, and then 14 and up. Each of these levels, it can be divided. So you can have conversation with kids, you can role play, you can reading stories, teaching them songs, playing with letters and numbers. That's the first phase. That's the elementary kids. So from primary school, from 7 to 11, they're more interested in school activities. So you can put them in after school activities, help them feel that they belong in school, regulate bedtime, breakfast, and school attendance. Take them to different different places like museums, libraries, and galleries. Work with the schools to support the child and particular issues. And then the third level is secondary age level. So communication, value, education. Talking any interest in their studies, model respectful relationship, keep them focused on learning with supporting, regulate bedtime and breakfast, and outlining the cultural venues, extracurricular activities.
فإذا في مراحل، كل المراحل مثل ما قلنا لازم الأهل يكونوا كمان involved إنه يكونوا على انفتاح مع أولادهم، يحكوا معهم يعني بكل المراحل. إن كانوا صغار بتشوفوا شو مثلا الولد الصغير بهمه مثلا يقرا ستوري، يروح على البارك يلعب، هيدي كمان مثل ما قلنا بتلهيه عن التنمر. الميدل سكول ما بيحبوا هالقصص، يمكن بيحبوا انه بتحكوا معهم اوكي، بتظهروهم على محلات، بيطلعوا، بيكون هيك قراب للاهل، يعني نحن بس نقرب اولادنا لنا بصيروا يرتاحوا، لان كل هدف من هول القصص انه نقرب الاولاد لنا ونخلي الاتصال معهم مباشر. يعني الولد بس يرتاح لاهله ويكون عم بيشوفهم كثير وعم نعطيهم وقت للاولاد، ساعتها بيرتاحوا لنا بصيروا يحكوا كل شيء. كل هالهدف من هيك انه نتقرب من اولادنا. بالهاي سكول كمان ما نترك الولد انه خلص صار هاي سكول ما بقى صار قوي وما بقى يتعرض، لا كمان هاي سكول بيتعرض، ومن هيك لازم نلحقه بدراسته، يعني نشوف المستقبل شو بده يعمل، نضلنا نحن انفولد بهالقصه.
So ways to respond to bullying. Stop it on the spot, find out what happened, support the kids involved, be more than a big bystander, tell someone you trust, take action. So
كيف نواجه التنمر؟ مثل ما قلنا بنعيدهم كلهم، بدنا نوقف التنمر بمطرحه على اي، بس نلاحظ عليه دغري بنوقفه، بيكون اسهل علينا هذا البروسس. بنسال شو صار، بدنا مساعده المدرسه، اذا عرفنا شيء بنجي على المدرسه بنساعد، بندعم الاولاد اللي عم يتعرضوا للتنمر، بنعلم اولادنا ما يكونوا متفرجين، يحكوا الحق بس بامان، يكونوا بامان لحتى يقدروا يحكوا، بدنا نعلمهم انه يحكوا لشخص بيوثقوا فيه، ونحن لازم نعمل اكشن، يعني ما فينا نطنش انه اوكي هيدا عم يتعرض للبولي انا ما خصني، لا، بنخلي اولادنا كمان يكونوا منخرطين بهذا الموضوع.
So there's different ways we can take action depending on the situation. So if it's a situation where it's immediate risk, like there's a dangerous risk for the child, you automatically call upper authority 911 or the police in different cities. So sometimes someone is feeling hopeless, helpless, or thinking of committing suicide. There's also a hotline for committing suicide, like National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So there's a line for that too. So they actually speak to the child. They tell them like what's bothering you. They do a lot of stuff to help prevent the children from thinking about committing suicide. So someone is acting differently than normal, such as always seeing sad or anxiety, struggling to complete tasks, or not being able to care for themselves. So once somebody's like thinking differently than normal, you can find local counselor, mental health services, the mental health and addiction insurance. So there's different foundations. Like one foundation around here is Access, I think. It helps many students and it's open for public.
So يعني أهم شيء هذا يعني إن شاء الله يعني never we'll get to that point يعني these are like they say يعني هذه يعني المراحل اللي يعني توصل لأخطر شيء بالإنسان يعني hopefully we don't have to go to like mental institutes or call suicide. As schools as well, we have the phone number to suicide prevention on their student IDs. That's like every school, كل المدارس لما بيطبعوا هذا الرقم على الستودنت ID just in case شي مرة حسوا بفكرة الانتحار أو anything. هول المؤسسات وهي الكذا دايما بيساعدوا يعني لما الانسان بيوصل لهي المرحله.
So if they're getting bullied in school, which we can tell our kids to tell the teacher first thing because she's in the class with them. We can tell the counselor to go to the dean's office, to tell the principal. Mainly, they have to tell somebody if they're getting bullied. This is the most important thing. We need to make sure they need to tell an adult because if we don't know what's going on and then we found out later that something happened, at the end of the day, like it's gonna, instead of having a big problem, we solve it and before it happens.
فاذا الاشياء اللي فينا ال 911 مثل ما قلنا اذا حالي كثير خطره بندق لل 911 للبوليس. عندنا على الكارت تاعول الاي دي تاعول المدرسه السويسايدال انه اذا الانتحار اذا ولد فكر بيعطوه على طول رقم الواحد بيجربوا يساعدوه اذا بعد الدوام او شيء. بالمدرسه ممكن يحكي مع الكونسلر اللي هي شغلتها بتساعد الاولاد كمان علموا اولادكم اي شيء يروحوا عند الكونسلر عند الدينز عند المعلمه اي حدا بيقدر يساعدهم. واي ولد بيتعرض للتنمر حتى بالريس تاعوله بشكله باي شيء بالكلتشر كمان نحن هون بنساعد الاولاد.
كل طالب بحس حاله مرتاح مع a certain person in the school يعني مع شخص معين whether his teacher, the principal, his dean. دايما شجعوهم انه مثلا دايما خلص you feel comfortable مرتاحين تحكوا لهذا الانسان خلص روح اذا هن مثلا ما بدهم يحكوا معكم انتم they don't want to open up to you. You can have them go tell them, okay, if you feel comfortable, go talk to your principal or go talk to your dean, go talk to your teacher. Just, have the idea of speaking out always there. No matter what it is, even if they have a close friend, they want to speak out to them, let them go speak out to them. Let them go to speak to anybody that they feel, comfortable with. And as parents, we want to keep encouraging that. We want to keep doing that.
Any questions? So Alan?
Is there a possibility that a kid that's being bullied doesn't show any signs?
If he's really good at it.
That's the thing, because there's some of them they do hide it from their parents, so they don't want them to.
Yeah, but eventually he's going to be doing it somewhere where somebody's going to realize. Okay, he might not show it to you guys. He might come home every day fine, tell you, oh, I had a beautiful day. I was good with my friends, with my teachers, but eventually it's going to be caught somewhere. He's going to start doing things at school where he's going to think he's more, freely to do things, and it's going to show up and it's going to add on. I mean, if he gets in trouble for one thing, today, the next day the same thing, the day after. So there's something, we evaluate. That's why, we have, us as deans work with it. Social workers get involved. Miss Angela, the principal, there's always somewhere where you will catch it. Eventually it's going to show. The other person might speak up. If the other person speaks up and mentions, so-and-so is doing this to me or doing that to me, it's going to be caught as well. You know what I mean? So you can hide it for I don't know, for how, you can hide it for some time, but not for.
So that's why we said the bystanders are a big role as for bullying. So بس الولد يكون عم يتفرج على صاحبه he's getting bullied هو راح يعرف. Most of the time friends tell each other بيحكوا يا بعض. So هذا الفريق لازم, that's why we say he needs to speak out loud, to go and tell the parents, to go tell the deans, oh, this is my friend, he's getting bullied. I'm scared for him. So that's why the bystander also play a big role in this.
Also, like I mentioned in the beginning, that if you see, if you hear something, if your child is seeing something, someone else is being bullied, they have to report it. This is really important. They have to understand that they are not only saving themselves from being bullied, but their friends or other students, because someone else might not have the courage to say anything, or might not realize that he's being bullied or she's being bullied. So this is really important for all of us, parents and families and everyone, understand. Look for these signs that the deans have shared with you, but any kind of behavior that is not normal, a small thing, like your child doesn't want to go to school. Almost every day he or she is giving you a hard time. There might be something going on at school, or there might be something going on with him or his friends, or he is being bullied. You never know. So communicate with the school as much as you can, if you see any kind of signs, or talk to your child. Make it a habit checking out with your child every day. What did you do in school? How was school? How were your friends? So those kind of conversation, you always find something which is not normal or which is something that you want to follow up with. Okay?
اللي بس لانه الاشياء المتكرره يعني الولد بس يكون عنده سلوك متكرر، مثلا اليوم ما بتجي على المدرسه ممكن ما يكون حاسس حاله شيء، ما بنشك هون بالموضوع، بس على طول عم يصير نفس السلوك، ساعتها بنقول هون في ريد فلاج في مشكله، بس بدها تبين بالنهايه باي ساين. اوكي؟
Thank you so much for listening. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you. Any other questions you guys have? Okay, so before you guys leave, I just want to...
HES Academies have been serving the Detroit metro area for over 23 years, promoting academic excellence, leadership, and cultural diversity, ranking as some of the top schools in the state of Michigan. Our pre-K through 12th grade students enjoy tuition-free, state-accredited education by STEM-certified and highly qualified staff with no geographical restrictions, and with advanced placement, college dual enrollment, scholarship, and Arabic language programs. Noor International Academy in Sterling Heights at niapsa.org, Star International Academy in Dearborn Heights and in Canton at starpsa.org, Universal Academy in Detroit at universalpsa.org, and Universal Learning Academy in Westland at ulapsa.org. Join HES Academies today and enjoy a free Chromebook for every enrolled student.